Hey yo, welcome back. Beautiful day out there today, and I actually just came back from having breakfast with my or brunch with my wife. It's been a while since the last time we've done that, since the whole pandemic started, and it's especially without any kids. One of our good friends actually took the kids for the morning, so we took advantage of that and found a restaurant that had outdoor seating, and we were able to have some alone time. It wasn't long, but we take what we can. So yeah, so as I promised you guys from my previous video that I was gonna give you guys a COVID-19 video. This is more related to what we have personally going on right now. As of right now, we are on day 11th of my dad being on a ventilator. Um, Unfortunately, he was diagnosed with COVID 19 back in December. He had trouble from Mexico into here, and prior to him coming in, he wasn't feeling that well. So he came in, and I had asked him to go get tested that following Monday because he came back on a Sunday. So he went on Monday to go get tested, and then the following day on Tuesday he tested positive. Uh, Now he was already feeling bad, and unfortunately my dad did not. Well, unfortunately, we did not take um, actions as soon as we had to, um, and it was too late. Uh, a whole week went by before he was taken into the hospital. I remember calling my mom, just checking up on dad, see how he was doing. And unfortunately, again, we're Hispanics, right? I mean, that's obvious. We're Hispanics, and he was very stubborn to seek for help, and that I believe is what hindered the ability to get better quicker by not asking for help. So I remember calling my dad on a Friday, or texting him actually if he was feeling okay or we needed to go get him checked. And at that point, he said he was feeling a little bit better than the previous days, so I didn't really think too much of it. And then I talked to my mom that Saturday night, and I told her, "Look, I need you to tell me if he's not feeling well, so we can take him to the hospital and then just get him checked before it gets any worse." And even my mom, she said, I think he looks a little bit better than he did the last few days. He's able to sit. Um, but then things changed drastically. And coming up Sunday morning, I was already gonna go. I was already planning on taking him to the hospital. But then I get a call from my mom saying that he can't even stand to go to the restroom because he's lacking oxygen. So now at that point, I was doing my best to try to keep calm, but we knew that this was gonna be uh, a difficult journey. So Sunday morning came in. I drove to my parents' house, and on my way there, they called 911 so that way they could send an ambulance to pick up my dad because at that point he was already gasping for air. He couldn't get up. He couldn't talk. Um, and he was very weak. So as soon as I get there, I remember because I didn't even go inside their house, which is the first time I've ever had to experience that, not being able to go inside their house. So I stood on the outside, looking through the glass window, and seeing my dad gasping for air while laying down on the couch. That was a first one for me. For me, my dad, he's always been a strong man. Maybe too strong sometimes. You will not see him cry unless it's something very, very deep. But he is one of those guys that grew up in the old era where he doesn't show much emotions. but he is a happy man. We know he loves us. He knows we love him. Um, as a matter of fact, I think the only time I've seen my dad cry was when he went back to Mexico for the first time in 15, 20 plus years to visit to see his mom. And that's the first time I've seen true emotions coming out of that man. Um, so again, referring to my point of, I've always seen my dad very strong. Um, so yeah, it was a shock for me to see him that way, but at the same time, I knew that it was gonna be again a difficult journey. So, anyways, ambulance came in, uh, all suited up, and they went inside. They gave him a respirator really quick, a pill for his heart, I believe, um, and to the point where two of them had to pick him up because he couldn't get up out of the couch himself. Again, that's when we knew that it was gonna be difficult. So again, they ended up taking my dad on a Sunday morning. Um, yeah, so they ended up taking my dad on a Sunday morning. They were able to get his oxygen somewhat stable, blood pressure and sugar because he is a diabetic. Um, and again, we've always seen or read in the news that, hey, a lot of the people that are dying is due to COVID. Yes, part of it, COVID contributes to whatever, if someone passes away, that's going to contribute to that. But the fact is that a lot of the individuals that are struggling more right now are those that have underlying health issues. My dad, for example, is one of them. Due to COVID and due to being diabetic, it makes it even worse for him to be able to get his oxygen levels back up. So he again he got stable. Oxygen levels were somewhat normal. Um, I think he spent over a week. Exactly, he spent exactly. So it was Sunday, so that's 7. He spent exactly 13 days in bed with oxygen help and what the doctors call proning, which is just essentially moving the body in different sides in order for the body to maximize the oxygen level and kind of get it back to normal. Unfortunately, with my dad, he couldn't really lay on his back at all because then he would be gasping for air. So he constantly would be proning on his tummy, which was difficult for him because, again, after eating, I mean, even I myself, or anybody, I would say that once you're done eating, the last thing you want to do is lay on your stomach, right? Because you're full. But with him, that's the thing that had to be done. I mean, constantly he would be on his tummy for at least 16 hours of the day. Um, Again, so he was doing all that, and again, the doctors, we've been blessed. He's being taken care of very well. He he kept on getting the respiratory treatments that they get for their lungs for them to recover, because essentially what he's fighting right now, or what COVID-19 patients fight, is pneumonia, which is again is caused by having COVID-19. It causes it's an issue with your respiratory system. So we yeah, so again, so he had been at that point 13, 14 days, I believe, in that state, but he was at max level with that gas tank, and the doctors had told us that the gas tank is not going to be able to support the extra amount of oxygen needed to essentially keep him alive. So the one thing that we're constantly just trying to stay away from is him going in a ventilator. Again, because we did not know, we were scared, and especially reading or seeing that a lot of the people that go on a ventilator, they don't make it out, or that the percentage itself is like a 50-50. it's tough to process. But I remember when we talked to the doctor, and given that my dad, again, he, in the state that he was on the past 14 days, he was sitting up to eat, and then eventually again his oxygen level would drop, so he would have to be prone on his tummy again. But I mean, he was functional. I mean, besides the fact of the oxygen level, he was eating. If he needed to go to the restroom, etc. But yes, he would be gasping for air if he were to get up. Um, so yeah, we had to have that tough conversation with the doctor that said, essentially, I mean, they're doctors, they know what they're talking about, right? That's why they go to school, and they get all that education. And they said that if they needed to intervene with the ventilator, they wanted to do that as soon as possible, to give my dad the highest probability of being able to make it out of it. um, at that point, they gave us a 50 to 75% chance of him being able to get out of it. um, which again, eh, whatever had to be done, my dad, he is aware that it was going to be for the best of him to help him recover. So now we are in today. So that was Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. So we are on day 11th of my dad being on a ventilator, and so far there hasn't really been much progress. He's still the same. He's still requiring a lot of oxygen. Um, they We called yesterday, and they were gonna be performing a scan on his lungs to see what is it that's causing his lungs now to be able to recover, or start to regain the oxygen levels that he needs. Um, so that's where we are, and again, as a family, we constantly worry, but we are surrounded by a community of people of faith that believe, and that they're fighting with us this very moment. And I am at a I have such a peace knowing that I know he's gonna be able to make it. I know he will make it, and but it's just gonna take time. Not not just right now, but again, even after he gets out of this, the fact that he's gonna have to go through a recovery process and perhaps rehab, um, after this, incident, it's gonna take some time. But I am at peace knowing that regardless, I mean, whatever time he needs, we're gonna be here for him. And I mean, unfortunately, things that unfolded through the process, back home, back in Mexico, unfortunately, there were some people that weren't so lucky as my dad, and um, that is for a different video, just because it's another sensitive matter, that um, I would rather tell it once my dad is out of this, um, to avoid any to avoid any emotional distress for now. But yeah, so I mean, that's where we are right now. We're on day 11th, on a ventilator, and we're still hanging in there. But like I said before, we have a very supportive community, and I believe that is also what makes us feel at peace, because there's so many people currently that they have my dad and my family on their mind, on their list, when it comes to a prayer. So for that, I want to thank every single one of you guys out there that is constantly doing that, not just for my family, but anybody that's constantly praying for someone else that's going through that same situation right now, because unfortunately that's the only support that we can provide for now. There's not a lot of things that you can do for someone that's going through this right now, and it's difficult. For example, I talk about it with my wife. We talk about it daily. A simple question that my wife asks is like, how is your heart? And you don't really think about something like that when everything is fine, but when you're experiencing challenges and troubles along the waters, then that's when you really need to stop and take a look at yourself, a really deep look, and be honest with yourself as to where you are and how you're feeling.